Hello my beautiful people, you're highly welcome to Naho Blessed Fashion. If you're new here, you're welcome. I would love you to join this beautiful family. All you will need to do is to subscribe. Subscription is free, guys. Turn on your notification bell so you'll be the first to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Today we're gonna be drafting a basic bodice pattern. As a beginner, you need to master this. It's gonna guide you on any sewing project you want to embark on. I'm going to also show you how to manipulate your darts in case you have dress that you don't want any dart stitch to show, but you still need all those contours, all those curves, you still need them. I'm going to show you how to achieve that. So at the upper part, I draw a straight line where my measurement is going to start. And I marked 10 inches. That's my bust point. And then I'll mark my under bust, which is 13 inches. And my half length is 16 inches. Okay, that's my waistline. And then the distance from my waistline to my hip line is 8 inches. You can use 9 inches for a tall person if you didn't take their measurement, okay? Next, I will take my dress length. We are drafting a short gown, okay? You can use the same procedure for a top or two-piece, okay? I'm using 34 plus 2-inch sewing allowance, okay? I'll mark the same measurement at the front so that I can get a straight line. Okay, so my bust point, my under bust, my half length, and then my hip line and the length of my dress. Sorry guys, I had no idea you can see this, but there's not much work at the down part, okay? Don't worry, this is going to be as detailed as possible. I'm just connecting the dots together. I'm sorry about this dress length line. I'm sorry. Okay, my bust line, my under bust line, my half length or waist line, and then my hip line, and then my dress length. Okay. So the next thing I'll do is to mark my shoulder divide by 2. And then from there, I'll come down by 1 inch for shoulder slope. I will mark my neck width, which is 3 inches. And then my neck depth of 2.5 inches. The neck depth depends on the style you are making. But the basic round neck is 3 inches depth and 3 inches width, okay? I'll use my cuff roller to connect it together. You can use free hands for this, okay? And I'll connect my shoulder slope from my neck width. After that, I will take my armhole depth, okay? So to get my armhole depth, I'm going to divide my shoulder divide by 2. I'm going to take it from my shoulder slope. Don't make that mistake. Take your armhole depth, take the measurement from your shoulder slope. You can also get your armhole depth by dividing your bust circumference divide by 6 plus 1.5. Your bust circumference divide by 6 plus 1.5 is still going to give you your armhole depth. You can also use your shoulder divide by 2 for that, okay? I'll create a straight line and that will be my chest line. From my chest line, I will take my bust circumference divide by 4. At my armhole line, I'm going to divide it by 2. What I have in that line, I'll divide it by 2. Mark the midpoint. And then go in by 1/2 inch. From that point, I'll go in by 1/2 inch. I'll connect it from my shoulder slope to that 1/2 inch and then to my bust circumference. You can use your free hand, but you will get this easily and neatly with your French curve. Next is to take my bust span measurement at the distance from one nipple to another. My nipple to nipple, my bust span measurement is 8 divided by 2, which is 4. That's what I'm marking. I'll mark it straight to my hip line. Then I'll connect them together. I don't need this line on my chest line. That's why I didn't connect it. And then at my bust line, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. That's because I don't want my bust to be pointy, okay? At my waistline, for my dart, I'm going to take 1 inch from each side, okay? This depends on how snatch you want your waist to be. You can use 0.75, you can use ½ inch. All depends on you, okay? And then I'll connect it to the 1 inch I marked from my bust line. Next, I'm going to determine how the length of my dart from the skirt side, that's from the down part. I marked out 6 inches from my waistline, and then I'm connecting the dart to the 6 inches. That's where my dart is going to stop. I'll mark out my round bust as my bust line, just so I marked my bust dart. So I marked out 1.5 inch from my bust line, which will serve as my bust dart. So I will take my round measurement. I already have my bust measurement at my chest line, so I'll just add my sewing allowance of 1.5. At my waistline, I'll take my round waist measurement divided by 4, and then I'll replace my dart. My dart is 2 inches plus my 1.5 sewing allowance. I'm going to mark it out, okay? Remember to always replace your dart. So I'll just connect these two together. Okay guys, I will extend this bust dart to this line. I'll extend it to the line, okay? That's where it's supposed to start from. Good. I'll take my hip measurement divided by 4. We don't have that there, so I'll just place my sewing allowance of 1.5 inch. So what I have there, what I have at my hip line, I'm going to minus 1.5. You can make it 2 inches, okay? I'm going to minus 1.5, and then I'm going to place it at my dress length. What you have at your hip line, you're going to minus 1.5 or 2 inches, and then you are going to put it at your dress length. I just connect my waist to my hip now with a cuff, and then I'll connect my hip to my dress length straight down. So at this bust dart, I just want to come out a little, just so I don't run out of fabric when I close this dart. Okay guys, we are done with this front pattern. I'll just go ahead and cut it out. Please guys, if you're still watching, don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't. If you can drop a comment, I will really appreciate. Okay, thank you. For the back pattern, I just marked out 1.5 inch. I'm going to connect it all the way down. That's for our zipper allowance, okay? We're leaving that for zipper allowance. Our measurement is going to start from the second line.
You are mighty on your throne. He is mighty. Father, you reign.
I will just quickly mark out the necessary lines I will need for the back. So I just mark out my shoulder divided by 2, my shoulder slope, my neck width. Okay, I'll connect my shoulder slope to my neck width. And then for the neck depth, I'm using 1.5. You can use 1 inch, depends on the style you're making. I'm just taking my measurement, my bust point, my under bust, my waistline, my hip line, and the dress length. For the armhole depth, it's still the same with the front. I just divide my shoulder by 2, and then I marked it out there. I'm going to connect that to the shoulder slope, and then I'm going to create a straight line, and that will serve as my chest line. So my chest line, my bust line, my on bust, my waistline, my knee hip line, and my dress length. I will divide my armhole depth by 2, and then I'll mark it. For the back armhole depth, you're not going in by 1/2 inch like you did in the front pattern, okay? Now I'll mark my round bust measurement in my chest line, and then I'll connect it to my armhole. I'm just marking my bust measurement, my waist measurement. Okay, I decide to just go on with my bust pan first. My bust pan, nipple to nipple measurement, the same 4 inch is what I'm still using here. Then I'm taking 0.75 as my dart for the back. Remember, we use 1 inch for the front. I'm connecting it straight to my bust line. Then I'm marking 7 inch down towards my hip, and then I'll connect my dart from my waist to this 7 inch. Remember, we use 6 inch for the front. Then my round waist divide by 2 plus divide by 4 plus my dart and my sewing allowance is what I just marked. You have to replace your dart, don't forget. My hip divide by 2 plus sewing allowance. I connect my bust to my waist to my hip, and my hip to the length of my dress. Remember, what you have at your hip line, you're going to minus either 2 or 1.5 inch, and then place whatever you are having at your dress. Then I'll just cut it out. That's all for the back. There's nothing much. Sorry, there's something I did at the back. My camera did not capture that. In order to eliminate zipper bulge at the back, from the zipper side at the waistline, I went in by 1/2 inch. I connect that to the hip line, and I connect it to my shoulder. That's what I'm cutting out now. It will help your zipper to sit very nicely. That is it, guys, for the patterns. I promise you guys that I'm going to show you how you can manipulate your darts if you don't want your dart stitch to show in your dress. But this video is long already. I'm going to drop a link. Just click on this link I'm going to drop now to watch how you manipulate your darts, okay? Thank you all, and please don't forget to subscribe, like this video. I love you. Bye.